how these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say, I can't wait to say it. I love it. I love it. Go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NotBland Show, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland. And first, I want you to go ahead, like this show, share this show, and if you are watching this show and you have been watching this show and you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel that is at the NotBland Show, then please go ahead, do that, and hit the bell so you know exactly when we go live, because we're going to be doing some extra shows as we inch closer to the NFL season. Well, we are brought to you by sportsjourney.com and Everything Nitro, and we are powered by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Yes, it is the game where you play for free and you win cool prizes. Again, I say, where they do that at? Well, right here at dragracebracketbonanza.com. You can go ahead and sign up. You can create your own league, or you can join this one at the bottom of the ticker. Our code is there, and you can join us at the NotBland Show League and see if you can beat me. They are beating me pretty badly right now in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. So come join the party, because they're definitely putting foot in my behind. Yeah. So it's drag racing coming up this weekend at the Virginia Nationals. I'm looking forward to it. Want to say hi to family. Thanks for tuning in. Also, new family here, Scott, always watching and tuning in. I appreciate it. Welcome. We're going to have a great show for you today. And man, let's get it started. So he's a guy who comes in and makes a few races, and he's going to be debuting real soon here. They call him Nitro Joe. Let's bring in our guy, Joe Morrison. Joe, how's it going, buddy?
What's happened, Dujane? Thanks for having me on, man. Glad to be here.
Man, I love having what I call the little guys on, because I'm a little guy, and I started out just loving sports, showing a passion for sports, and to bring myself here. And so I can relate to you guys, and you guys have really cool stories anyway. So that's why I love having you guys on.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's all about the passion. I mean, certainly for the love of the sport. It's funny. I saw an interview or an article with Austin Prock on NHRA.com and talking about how he was born to do this. I'm like, yeah, dude, I can relate. Like I was born to do this. This is just something I've loved my entire life. Mom and dad's first date was to Island Dragway, and mom was actually pregnant with me while she was working in the timing tower at Island. So I could say I've been going to the races since before I was born.
Right. It's definitely in your blood. So you're going to be making your debut at Norwalk, which is a place that I love. But Top Fuel is your thing. But what are you coming in Top Fuel this weekend? That weekend?
I last year did my crossover license in Virginia, of all places, with legendary team owner and crew chief Paul Smith, and Bodie and Rhonda, of course, there, and Bodie being a part of the car, and to be able to get my crossover license with Paul was just fantastic. I mean, I've really always been a funny car guy. And the only reason I ended up driving a Top Fuel car is Jim Oberhofer said to me years ago when I was, working on moving up. He said, start in the top fuel car first, get used to the speed, and then switch back to the funny car, because I've driven fuel altereds,
Right.
Regular alcohol altereds, nostalgia alcohol funny cars, nostalgia nitro funny cars. And really the only long cars I drove, I got my top alcohol license with another legendary team owner, Jerry Darian, back in 2014 at Famoso out there in Bakersfield. 5 runs in his car. And then I had made 5 or 6 runs in a fella here in originally, in Jersey. Unfortunately, he's since passed away, Jim Harrington. Jim had a racing school, and back in, I want to say 2005, I made a handful of runs in his Super Comp dragster. But those were the only long car runs I ever made before getting in the top fuel car.
Right.
So no, man, I've been all about funny cars from day one, and to be doing this with Paul Smith is amazing. I see my brother from another mother, Rocky, is listening in. I was tuned into him on an interview last night. He and his son Joey, amazing friends, wonderful people. Joey is he's becoming a hell of a driver. I know I say he's a great driver already. He's still learning a lot, but and my buddy Rocky has helped more people in drag racing, and I'm fortunate to drive a couple of his cars and still be part of that team. So
welcome, Rocky.
There you go.
So in Norwalk, you will be debuting in a funny car.
Yeah, Nitro funny car. And look, I didn't have thousands of runs in a top fuel car, but I did a total of 18 national events over the course of 3 years, right? So got a decent number of laps under my belt. And the top fuel car is amazing, right? It's just the acceleration's intense, but the funny car, man, it's a lot more. To me, it's more interesting to drive because you have to really be on it. Paul Smith told me, he's like, with a top fuel car, you can drive it with your eyes, right? You can see if the front end moves over, or you make a connection, you bring her back. The funny car, you drive it with your ass, right? You gotta feel it, because if you see the front end is moved over, you're already too late. Yeah, you're already too late. That thing's heading out of the groove, and it gets there in a hurry.
I've heard that a lot about it being a seat of the pants type of a ride there, where you really have to really be on your game and really pay attention to what your butt is telling you.
Oh yeah, it really is it's a feel thing, and it's just so much more intense. And have that 11,000 horsepower nitro motor sitting a couple of inches in front of your feet. It's just crazy, man. It's just insane. Like, I get so fired up just thinking about it, so to have the opportunity to do it. I mean, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, without the help of Penn Grade 1. My friend Dawn D'Agostino, she's helped in with some sponsorship money. Marvin Rodak and Rodak's Coffee. There have been a lot of folks who have helped throughout the years, and really without their help, I don't come from a family that is very well off. We're just average blue collar folks. My dad was a plumber. Mom still works as a nurse. Dad passed away from COPD in 2016. So what is that? Oh my goodness, that's 8. I can't do the math. That's 8 years ago already.
Yeah.
Certainly Dad was my inspiration for getting into car racing, and the drive, like I said, the blood, sweat, and tears to try to get here and do it. So it's one of those things, right? You're talking about the little guys, like without sponsorship help, without the folks that helped me along, it wouldn't be happening,
Yeah, and that's huge. Those type of people being able to help, the loyalty there is always something that I'm sure you hold close to your heart, and really, really appreciate those helping hands. I really was caught by your organization, Right to Breathe, and the story behind it was very touching. Could you tell us and tell the fans a little bit about that organization?
Yeah. Talking about my dad and his living with COPD. So, lung disease in general is very underserved in our country. I mean, I realize, look, we just had COVID a couple of years ago, and respiratory and lungs came to the forefront of people's minds a little bit. But when you talk about people living with COPD, my dad did not get diagnosed with COPD until he had already lost about half of his lung function. And once it's gone, it's gone. And so what we discovered through his journey, he was diagnosed in about 2006. We discovered a couple things. Number one, his love for racing motivated him to exercise and be healthy. Look, when you can't breathe, you don't really want to get up and exercise, right? But you have to, because if you don't, you decondition further and your breathing gets worse. So we used my dad's love for drag racing to keep him motivated to exercise, to eat right, to take his medications, to be as healthy as possible. And that was the inspiration for starting Right to Breathe. We did some work with the COPD Foundation. They had a program in NASCAR called Drive for COPD. And of course, knowing that I was a race car driver, the president of the foundation had asked me to get involved, and we were happy to do so. Unfortunately, the funding for that program went away. And so I had already been working on bringing that program to NHRA drag racing. And so when that program went away, Tim Charlet and I founded Right to Breathe in 2014. So here we are, 10 years. And what we do is really focus on a couple things. Number one, early detection of lung disease. And we do that with a campaign we call Put Your Lungs on the Dyno, right? Race fans know that a dyno is how you measure engine horsepower. Right. Well, we're checking out the performance of your lungs. And in Norwalk, we're going to have a team from the Cleveland Clinic, one of the best lung centers, best in the area, one of the best in the country. And Cleveland Clinic will be with Right to Breathe in the Midway at the Summit Racing Equipment drag strip, doing free lung screenings, putting people's lungs on the dyno right there with some great medical professionals that can offer advice. It's good to check, even if you don't know that anything's going on, because if you catch it early, you see, if we would have caught my dad's COPD early, there's a chance he definitely would have lived longer. It's a chance he might even still be here. He passed away before I even he never got to see me drive a Top Fuel car. That's one of the things. I just wish we could have kept him around longer. So my thought is, look, man, if we can help other people have more time with their loved ones, because if you catch it early, you can slow or stop the progression of it. So it's better to know you can do what you need to do to stay healthy, live better, live longer, and be able to keep racing longer, So that's it. That's it in a nutshell. The other thing we do is, and it's funny, we just did this today from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Eastern. The second, third, and fourth Tuesdays, we do a free, through Zoom, online patient support group. And we bring in doctors and nutritionists and respiratory therapists, some of the best medical professionals in the country, for free. And people living with lung disease can sign on. I host it, and I bring in a bunch of great guests. We provide education, and you get to learn from other people that are living with COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, and asthma. Learn how you can still live your best life. So another couple of cool things that I want to talk about as far as Right to Breathe in the Midway in Norwalk. That last December we lost Don Schumacher.
Yes.
And Don passed away from lung cancer. And so Tony Schumacher and Ida Zetterstrom, both in Norwalk and Maple Grove Raceway, I've received emails from them that they're going to come and sign autographs in the Right to Breathe booth. So awesome. I'm honored. Tony and I have talked a couple of times, just because obviously racing in Top Fuel, we've talked a little bit, and both having dads that were racers. It's just so proud to have Tony and Ida join me. Was talking with Mike Booker, and Mike Booker's going to come by as well. There's a couple other drivers I'm talking to that I haven't had confirmation yet, so I don't want to list any names that I'm not sure they're going to be there. But I am looking to bring in some other A-list drivers to really help us share on social media encourage people to get screened. I did just receive word last night from my friend Pat Galvin, Pat, legendary crew chief for ages, and he's a wonderful guy. Pat reached out to Roland Leong's family on my behalf because Roland was on supplemental oxygen and Roland had COPD. And we're losing legends in our sport to lung disease, primarily because, look, we had Winston sponsorship for 28 years. I mean, look, at good money and and that was part of the culture back then, right? So we don't look back with shame and blame, right? What we want to do is we want to help people live better now, and we want to help make a better future. So we're really promoting, like I said, early detection. And because if you find out, and the other piece that's going on right now is we're just starting an early detection campaign for lung cancer, because with the new medications that are out now, if you catch lung cancer early, we can take the deadliest cancer, and the 20-year study that was just completed in November, survival rate goes to over 80%. We can change the course of lung cancer in this country simply by early detection. So, that's my mission in life, man. There's one of the guys at a pharmaceutical company that we're working with now, a company called Chiesi. He and I talk about this thing. It's a Japanese concept called ikigai. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't heard of that at all.
So ikigai, picture a Venn diagram with 4 overlapping circles, right?
Right.
One circle is what you're good at. One circle is what you love to do. Another circle is what the world needs. And the last circle is what you can make a living at. And if you combine what you love with what you're good at, right, with what the world needs and what you can make a living at, that is your purpose. And so I feel like I've found that. Found that in my life with Right to Breathe and with racing.
That is an awesome way to look at it. And yes, the education is so important these days. I try to say the same thing, especially for us guys. We don't keep up with our health and get a little lazy with that. Early detection is everything. And if we're keeping up, we're doing our appointments as we're supposed to, our yearly checks. If something doesn't feel right, just like when something doesn't feel right in our cars, we go and we check it. Those things are so important. But the education that you're providing to people about COPD and about early detection with lung cancer and COPD, it's going to really change the game for people. And like you said, be able to help people live longer. And that's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we're on the lookout for companies that want to partner with us. Really those companies that care about the racing community, care about not only the racers, but the fans, and we're having some interesting conversations right now. Yeah. I would love to be able to have Right to Breathe at all 21 NHRA national events and be out there with a campaign to promote that, to reach our fans. So if folks are interested, so you could go to www.right2breathe, RIGHT, the number 2, breathe, BREATHE.org. We have a questionnaire, like a risk assessment questionnaire. You can do that online and see if you're in the risk group. It's free. Yeah. And answer a couple questions and then you can come on out and put your lungs on the dyno. Come see us at Norwalk. We'll be Right to Breathe. We'll also be at Maple Grove. I'm working on making sure I've got the funding to race at that event too. So that's not confirmed yet, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah. I hope that this can help as well. You guys had an opportunity to go to Chaos, and was your team that will be helping you out in Norwalk, were they a part of that?
No, different team. I'm very lucky to drive for a fellow by the name of Dennis Champney. Dennis has a really badass hot rod, the Hellbound alcohol funny car. And we did Chaos in Texas earlier this year. We were just out in Cordova. We were in Maryland last year, Funny Car Chaos. We're doing Funny Car Chaos in Maryland with that car again this year. And so that'll be real exciting, but it's a fast car. I mean, really, unfortunately we had a challenging weekend. We were battling some tire shake. We had a clutch issue. We got all that straightened out. We qualified, out of 40 some odd cars, we qualified in the top 32, and then the starter broke on the starting line and ended our weekend right there. So, it's the case of a $20 solenoid cost us the weekend, and I thought we had a shot to win our field.
Yeah.
But hey, that's why they call it racing and not winning, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly. I kind of liken it to golf a little bit. It's one of those things. Sometimes you have a good one, and then there's sometimes that it just ain't so good.
No. There's I saw a shirt years ago that's about golf that said, "I love this game. I love this game. No, man. See, I just blew it. It's the opposite. It starts out, I hate this game. I hate this game. I hate this game. Nice shot. I love this game. I love this game. That's how it's supposed to be. Man, I got it all backwards. What are you going to do? But my dyslexia got the better of me right there.
Well, I am looking forward to you being in Norwalk and being able – look, the funny car class has really been strong. And to me, like I've said all season, that's the place to be right now. It's a log jam over there in Top Fuel. And the competition that you'll be adding to this class with the Terry Haddocks of the world, Paul Lees, and those guys, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys really lay it down. And I hope you guys have much success in 2 weeks.
No, I appreciate it. And again, I got to thank Paul Smith. He's been fantastic. To get to drive for a legend in the sport like that is just it's just a real honor. To have Bodie, his son Bodie and Scott Palmer sign off on my funny car license, it was great. So I got to say thank you. I see a comment from Nikki Clark on there. I want to say thank you to Nikki because she's helped out with social media. She'll be there in Norwalk as well. And really to have a great team of people that I'm working with, couldn't do it without them. Really just between, all of the help on the social media side, all of the help on the marketing side, and the teams that have helped open up their arms and help a aspiring Nitro driver like me and spend time talking with me and helping me learn. I think, I can't say enough about it and my gratitude for it. So, and also to you, man, thanks for having me on.
Of course. You'll be back on here again very soon. I like I said, you have one of the best in the business with Nikki, and the passion that you have for the sport, the love you have for the sport, but also that passion you have to help others. That coupled with everything makes you a draw, and I hope that with that draw, you can be able to be out there and go some rounds at your first race.
That would be something, man. I'm really, I am hungry for that first round win. Let me tell you, obviously you gotta be smart in a Nitro funny car. You can't do anything stupid, but let me tell you, I am hungry for that round win. Oof. I can't even put it into words, man. I can't even put it into words, but I feel like I'm at the point now, stepping on the throttle is one thing and it's absolutely amazing. But we're there because we want to compete and we're going to do the best we can with what we got,
That's all you can do. And with all of this, I hope that others will come on board. I think what you're doing with the COPD and helping people with being educated about lungs and lung cancer and early detection is absolutely so important. And I agree with you. There's got to be some people out there that are willing to get on board, and let's get him out there to all 21 so that we can have this on the midway everywhere, because the education and the being able to educate people about this is so important. It's a big deal. And so if anybody's watching, hey, let's start writing some checks, man. Let's start writing some checks.
All it takes. That's all it takes.
That's right. Well, Joe, thank you so much. And
Thanks,
like I
Steve,
said,
man.
we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Right on. Thank you very much, man. Talk to you soon.
Man, that was awesome. Nitro Joe, everybody. It's going to be a blast. If you guys are going, I see some of you in the comments said you guys were going to be there. Yeah, make sure you stop by his pit. One of the good guys, you know what I mean? He's right there with my guy, Buddy Hull. Just so personable. And like I said, the education that's going to be provided for fans is, you know, it's not, there's no price on it. There's no price on it. Again, I'll use that analogy that we use for Drag Race and Bracket Bonanza. Where they do that at? I mean, seriously, grave importance for that, you know, and having the education possible. I have people that also that I know have COPD as well. So, and I'm sure just like cancer has touched each and every one of us with our family members, I'm sure that we all have someone that we know that is dealing with that. So that education is important. Well, I'm looking forward to the Virginia Nationals, a 2-day event, ladies and gentlemen, just 2. I like it. I think this is something that can be adopted in some other places. We talk about fans talking about the weekends being long, right? And it is. It is. I mean, even for us media people, it's longer, but it's a long day. And if you have a couple oil downs, you know, couple mishaps that happen, we're talking about an even longer day, right? So it can be shorter. We've seen it because of weather. Phoenix this year was one of those things of being able to come out and go to a 1-day qualifying deal. So I believe that this is something that can be adopted in certain places that can help boost fan participation and fans showing up. Maybe it's more appealing that you have 3 rounds of qualifying, and I'm a 4-round guy. I am, but I understand too that this is something the teams have talked about and they're okay with. It does save money for them, but 3 rounds of qualifying, of course, you're getting racing on that day as well, because after the first round of qualifying, we're going right into the Too Fast, Too Tasty. So you're getting racing right there on Saturday. And it may encourage people to come back on Sunday because it's only 2 days. And that's the goal, right? Oh, yeah. Trust me, I'm from the DMV. I know about heat. It's going to be hot. And you're right. Whether your Gatorade, your Powerade, whatever drink of choice, it's not Crown and Coke, though. All right? We don't want anybody stroking out. No Crown. There ain't no Grey Goose. No Bud Light or Bud Light. None of that. Stay hydrated, folks. 95 degrees in that heat, it's going to be no joke. But it'll be fun, though. And it's going to be very interesting for the teams with, again, another hot racetrack that we're going to come up on. And we're going to see who's got the hot weather tune-up down pat. This is where the rubber meets the road, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the 3rd quarter of this regular season. So there ain't time for messing around. This is time to get it together in this second half because your 4th quarter is very short. There's only 2 races in the 4th quarter. And then we're talking about playoffs. So going to have to get it together. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how things go. I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about it tonight on the Power Hour. But right now, I bring to you someone that is new. She is from Double Take Sports. The 2 stories she has up there at dbltake.sports.com are masterpieces. Why? Because they tell a story. There's a lot of reporting on wrestling. Yes, there is. Lots of reports on wrestling. But those two pieces tell a story. And that's important because you know what? Those are timeless pieces. They don't ever get old. We had Clash and we had Raw. And we're going to talk to her right now. We're going to bring on Hope Cousin. How's it going,
Hi.
Hope?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me. I'm in my Damian Priest.
I knew it. El Campeon.
And even the Black Moon cosmetics that mommy Rhea Ripley wears, believe it or not, hence the gray and the purple going on. I represent the Judgment Day. All rise, good people. All right.
That's right. And he said that in his interview at the end in the press conference. He asked everybody to rise. I was down
He
with
didn't
it.
ask, he demanded.
He demanded that. I loved it. That
I loved it
following our tribal chief.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. And he is returning. And when that return comes, I meant what I said. The roof is going to come off.
Yes.
The websites are going to crash. I mean, people are going to lose their minds when our tribal chief Roman Reigns returns. I love them.
It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely love my wrestling. I've been a fan since the days of the Four Horsemen, literally summer of '87. So I've seen a lot. And I've been very fortunate to have met quite a few of them, none from the current roster, with the exception of Becky Lynch. I have to admit, she had her booked tour here in DC back in March, about a week before WrestleMania. And I had the pleasure of meeting her, and talk about a lady who truly appreciates her fans.
Yes.
She really does. Good-natured family woman, and can kick your butt too.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Now we go back and look at the Clash.
Oh boy. Where do we start?
I will point out the first thing here because I'm tired of the excuses. If this was AEW, they would be talking about how the company is dead. We had some miscues at the Clash, and fortunately enough, El Campeon was not injured seriously. I really thought it was going to be bad. Look, I've seen the talk on social media and on Twitter about a loose top rope. Look, guys, if the top rope was loose, don't you think they would go and fix that in between? They're not going to let their prizes go out there and potentially get seriously injured. What do you think that the miscues were? Was it just something that, look, it happens in wrestling, or do you think that maybe the jet lag got a hold of a few people?
Complete honesty, I think it had to do perhaps with the oil. It wouldn't be the first time that wrestlers have injured themselves with the body oil, a la Rhea Ripley, just recently. She got away from herself, if you will, and now she's got that injury, and she'll be back soon. Looking forward to that for sure. But my goodness, that was scary to watch. He was dangling for a long time, and it was clear that he was tied up in the ropes. Whether or not it was planned, whether or not it was by accident, we will probably never know. Right. What I am personally thankful for is that he's okay, that he rose, that he's going to be facing Seth Rollins.
That's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. And I know I'll probably get slammed for this, but I'm going, as much as I like Seth, I'm going to say El Campeon is going to come out on top for the simple reason, think of the feather in his cap. If he could pin Seth Rollins. One of the reasons that I chose Damian for my first piece, my first story, was because he is such an inspiration. And he gets hammered. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves. And he's been through so much. Now, granted, there are some things that I wish he wouldn't do. I could say that about a lot of them. I mean, if people knew me well enough, they probably say, I wish he wouldn't do that as much. But I say that to say, this is a tremendous talent.
Yes.
He has the ability to go all the way in the sense of our talking about him 10, 15, 20 years from now. Yeah. Look at what he's done for the Puerto Rican wrestlers, literally by themselves. This is a man, and I'll say this until people get tired of me hearing it. I believe to this day, the reason that he has that belt on him, or one of the reasons, is because if you recall WrestleMania 39, everybody in the Judgment Day had a match with the exception of Damien. Now, let's keep it real. Right. If that had been you or I, or most other people listening to this podcast, they would be like, well, what happened to me? Why don't you have anything from me? Well, I'm not going out there. Well, you all don't even, I'm going to do whatever. Right. And he did none of that. He was calm, cool, and collected. He went out there and did his little thing with Bad Bunny, and it wasn't a little thing, but he did his thing with Bad Bunny. And the next thing, you know, never complained or anything. And then the next thing you knew, he had a huge match, Backlash, Puerto Rico, with Bad Bunny that qualified for Match of the Year.
Yeah.
You recall after that match, and that was a banger.
It was
a match. It really was. And people forget, who do you think trained Bad Bunny? It was former senior Money in the Bank, El Campeon, Damian Priest.
Yep. Him. Yep. And he was very well prepared. I think people forget about that with the Logan Paul situation. People forget about Bad Bunny and how prepared he was. And yes, I believe Damien is a great wrestler. I think he's a little bit underrated by the fans because he's a little different. He is a little different than what we used to. But I agree with you. Looking ahead to Money in the Bank with Seth freaking Rollins, I do believe that this is his match and he will win it. This is a thing where Seth doesn't really need the championship. We already know who Seth is.
That part.
And we're trying to build a champion in Damian Priest. He should have been champion a long time ago.
I agree.
But the timing is right here. I think this is a huge match for him. I think we're seeing some of the things that we're going to be seeing from Cody that we're seeing also play out with Damian Priest as well. And I really do believe that Seth Rollins is just a guy who's going to be able to elevate him and be that checkoff on the ledger there to help continue to elevate Damian Priest, who I believe is already there. But we already know it takes fans a little bit to warm up.
It takes time, and some of the things that I'm simply not going to repeat here, I'm sure you've heard, are simply cruel. Yeah, and I think it's a testament to his character that he feeds off of that, if you will. But as a human being, I don't care how thick-skinned he may be, that has to hurt. That has to cut. If you remember many moons ago, Roman even admitted when he was a good guy and he was trying to get over and they were getting him over and you could see the look on his face. What do I have to do for you people? You could see the tears in this big man. He even said it hurt him.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, said that it hurt him, and it could be one of those things where El Campeon may break away from the Judgment Day. I'm not sure. But some of those things, it's just not okay. And I wish people would stop and think before they say those types of things about him, about others for that matter. It's not just Damon, there are others. I mean, there are lots of bullies. And I thank you for giving me this platform to speak on that a bit. But piggying back to what you were saying about Seth, oh my goodness, the amount of respect that I developed, I always liked him.
Yeah.
But the amount of respect that I gained with Seth after WrestleMania, if you remember, Kevin Owens and there was someone else helped him to his feet. I didn't realize that he had an injured knee at that point and was getting ready to go out for surgery. But look at what that man did for that show, literally relinquishing the belt and then giving it up for the night 2. This man showed up 2 nights, WrestleMania, pulled it out. And if Damian can beat him, I mean, I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even if he doesn't win, which I don't see, because back to your point, sure, Seth can have the belt, but he doesn't really need the belt. Right. Damian needs to be proven as the champion that the higher up see, that I see, that you see, and other of his fans see, and other members of the Judgment Day see. And it's truly exciting to think, because if you think about, if you even look at how the Judgment Day appeared in the beginning, and you look at them today, each member, how they've grown.
Yeah, they all have.
Quality in Rhea, but how she's grown.
Yeah.
Then Damian, though, I know people like the roar. I just wish he'd stop the roar. But if he likes it, I mean, because he may see this, I said, roar away, Damian. Do what you want to do. But
yeah.
But I look at the roaring days, and he still does that, but looking at the presentation, how far he's come in his skills, how far he's come on the mic. I mean, he's coming up with some funny one-liners now.
He has been very good on the mic. And it's definitely showing big time.
And who's helping him behind the scenes? A certain wise man.
Yes. Mr. Paul Heyman.
And credit to him, and congrats to him for finally being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And what a speech. Did you hear that speech?
That was amazing.
But
that was amazing.
Oh my goodness. Talking about inspiration. If you could get past the language.
yeah.
He was powerful. But
it's not for kids.
That was Paul, and I loved it because it took me back to the Paul Lee days with the shoe phone. If you will. I mean, I remember the Dangerous Alliance. I remember he and Missy Hyatt and Jason Hervey. I remember all of that back in WCW, and it makes me smile and it warms my heart when I think that he's one of the few people from that era who's still active in the business today.
Right. And it's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And he's still transcending and changing and elevating others. It's pretty amazing. Lonnie, I want to tell you that Rhea Ripley really did have an injury.
She did.
That she had to relinquish the title. I hate when that happens. And man, yesterday I was like, I don't want to see Damian come out here and have to relinquish no title. I was looking around all over the place to make sure I wasn't going to see anybody reporting on that.
I say that happened. I have to say I may have had to make a trip to Stamford, Connecticut. On that one. No.
That is very true, Lonnie. That's what I'm talking about. Seth is helping Damian to get over, just like you talking about Cena and Austin Theory, who I believe they're still misusing, but it's okay. Neither here nor there. But looking at the women's tag team match in Clash, did you see? I like the way that they lost, but did you see them? Jade and Bianca Belair losing that title that night.
I'll say this: it was in Scotland. We knew that 3 of the matches had Scottish folks.
Yes.
We knew all 3 couldn't lose.
That's right.
And I wish it weren't them, but at the same token, Jade and Bianca, I don't want to put this out there, but I am going to put it out there. We can see a turn coming, and it'll be interesting to see who it is. And I'll just be bold I love them both. A lot of people think it's going to be Jade. I actually think it's going to be Bianca. People keep forgetting Bianca was a bad guy, if you will.
Yeah.
I said what I said. It's like people forget that she,
Right.
so it could happen.
Yeah. And I like the pairing.
Love the pairing.
Like I said before, I've said it over and over again. It's not a knock on Jade at all, but Tony Khan deserves a lot of credit for making her look like an absolute polished star to where the WWE wanted to pick her up. She had some things to work on.
Sure.
And a lot of it is muscle memory and remembering sets. Little bit cleaner because WWE is a little bit more polished on some of their moves and how they expect because of trying to protect the wrestler. But I thought it was a great pairing with her and Bianca.
And they're not over yet. They're still together.
No,
sure.
and I think this is good. Yeah, I think this is good for her. You do see the improvement. Everybody makes a big deal about the rope issue. I just think, again, it's one of those things that happens in wrestling. We saw AJ do it. It actually worked out in Cody's favor because the table was broken and all of that. But it was a pretty bad fall there. But I do see the improvement in Jade. I really don't understand. And this is the thing. I say it about drivers in the NHRA as well, especially lady drivers in the NHRA, not reading the clippings and the social media posts. A lot of these people are just sitting on their couch, mama's couch, eating Cheetos and drinking Coke. Like, it's not. People are going to say what they're going to say, but the people who actually know and cover and know the sport realize that she has made a lot of progress. We're starting to see the Jade that we saw in AEW. And we're seeing some advancement. So because of my biggest problem was I did not want Jade to be painted into a Goldberg spot. She needs to improve and be more than just spots. You know what I mean? So I do see that. And I do like the fact that she's with someone that is polished and has had to go through that gauntlet as well of trying to win over not just the fans, but, getting your feet, getting your footing, and starting to become your own, finding yourself again. And I think that's what Jade is trying to do here, trying to find the Jade that we saw much more elevated in the WWE.
But if you notice too, the fan reaction for Jade and Bianca in Scotland and in other places, and I applaud WWE for truly making it worldwide.
Yes.
But if you notice, the audiences don't respond as well to them. Which is a little disturbing to me.
A little bit.
And you don't want to say or insinuate things, but it's noticeable.
It is.
It's clearly noticeable because it was a loud crowd. They were not quiet, but you could almost hear a pin drop when
it did change a lot.
It did. I mean, they popped more for Jade, but it was like when Bianca's music hit, when anyone else would have been jumping up or down or whatever, none of the cameras flashing or things of that nature. It was like
nobody's singing.
Interest, no hair twirl, the whole twirl thing, which is something else that's interesting to me when I look at the ladies' entrances at Clash. Did anyone recognize the music? Are you noticing that it's like the music pops and we're kind of waiting, everyone's kind of looking around, and then sometimes they'll come out and then, oh, it's them. So it's not just me.
No.
There's some things that need a little.
They were a little off. I think jet lag got a lot of people over there.
And jet lag plays a role as well, without question. And, Damien's 41 he's certainly not AARP, but he is older, you know, but he looks good. I'll go with Poppy, but you know, but I say that to say that he's champion now, and if he continues on the path that he's going, now is really the time to do it, because you don't want him to get injured. No. If that had been an injury, the momentum would have stopped. And I'm not certain, as good as he is, I'm not certain that he would have regained it, because there's so many people now vying for the spot.
You got LA Knight, who needs to hold a title, but it's a log jam. You got, I'll throw Austin Theory in that as well. That needs to hold a title, but it's just a log jam.
But look at this. Why doesn't Karrion Kross have a title? Please tell me. Have you seen him in person? Like,
he's a big man. No, I have not seen him in person, but he looks to be very, very big.
He is solid. He should have a belt. Why he hasn't had a belt by now is beyond me. I really don't know.
I think we see Kross and Uncle Howdy crew clash at some point. I think that's a great jump off point for both parties.
And may I say, you know, what a way to finish Raw and to wrap up sort of Clash. You know, it's a testament to Bray Wyatt that his family and his chosen family have agreed to do this. Yeah. And that the fans are receptive, and that, you know, if you had a heart, tears welled up.
Yeah, it was chilling. It really was.
Yeah, and Chad Gable with the little, it's like, oh
yeah. Chad and Gunther
being ugly. But yeah, I know. I mean, that area was no longer sacred ground. I mean, that was the gorilla position, like Michael Cole and others had said. And to see it in that condition, and to see who emerged, and wow, well done to everyone involved with that, because I know I would be very surprised if they didn't all bawl when they got backstage.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. And I'll get to this question here really quick. Lonnie says, do y'all ever see Jade and Jordan Grace colliding? They are too muscular. Yeah, I agree with you. Sure. So this is a good question, because we have seen the WWE finally play nice in the sandbox with other promotions.
But we know why that is. This is the Paul Levesque era.
Yes.
And we are thankful for what Vince McMahon put together, because what it is now would not be if it weren't for the former chairman. So regardless of the other things that's going on, I personally am thankful to him and Stephanie and everyone else who helped, Linda, who helped to put that company together and make it the juggernaut that it is today. And you think it's huge now, wait until Netflix. I mean, that's going to be something.
It'll be a game changer, because they can do a little bit more like AEW can. And this is where my thing is, and I'll answer this question real quick. I do think that is a possibility down the road. Those two, let's not forget that Jade was a champion, and she was 51-1.
And if you remember when she lost, I don't think anybody really liked the way.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. That was not the way she should have lost at all. It was very weird, kind of like the weirdness that we saw in the match between Cody and AJ, when all of a sudden, because Cody has a set of stairs, he's ready to go, I quit. But dude, you got pummeled the whole entire match, and because he's holding a set of stairs now, like, that's how you're gonna quit?
I know. And I was just like, AJ. Okay, clearly they were running short on time, because they had other matches to get to. Exactly. That's the only excuse I can give for that one.
but I do see that happening. I think that would be an excellent match.
I agree.
Both of those women are very skilled in the ring. It would be, that would be a match to watch there. Before we get out of here, I want to talk about Cody Rhodes.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I want to talk about Cody Rhodes and the champion that he has been. I know he's suffering from the tribal chief, following the tribal chief. But I will say that Cody is really doing what he has always done. I fortunately enough, I don't know how much you followed Cody outside of WWE, but from the time they started putting out the all outs and all ins, and I think that's why some WWE fans don't really get the AEW, because you didn't see it how it was built from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, this has been Cody from the jump. I do wish Cody would be a heel. I think his whole persona is that, but we don't have a John Cena, so he has to be that John Cena. And the way he deals with his fans, the way he deals with people, it is of the face, variety. How are you feeling how he's handled and been as a champion here? He's had a lot of tough matches.
He has. And, for me, he's not the tribal chief, but there can only be one tribal chief.
That's right.
Cody did what he said he would do. And I do have respect for Cody because of what he did in AEW, because of what he's doing as a man with his wife, with his daughter, how he is with the fans. On paper, you can't get a better representative. He truly is of the fans, of the people, if you will. But I have to say, if he were to turn, I could almost see that being similar to when Hogan turned.
Yes.
In the ring filling up with trash. And who, oddly enough, could be the person who could be the baby face, as crazy as this may sound?
Roman Reigns.
I've
said that he comes back. I've said that he comes back as a face. I also, this is the last thing we'll cover here. So here's my thought. The bloodline is being run by the final boss right now. All shots and everything that Solo Sikoa is doing is of his own, merit, but he is also taking orders from the final boss.
Is he though?
There's no orders coming from the tribal chief.
That's true.
None.
That's true.
This is all Solo, and I do believe that the final boss has something to do with this. You have to kind of have this because you can't get Roman and you can't get Rock if you don't have somebody have to go up and say, hey, this is not what I built. This is way overboard. I've got to stop this nonsense. And that's when Jay and Jimmy come back.
That's very possible. I'm thinking though, because right now it looks like it's going to be Cody versus Rock. And it'll be interesting how they do this. And I know they're going to have us on pins and needles, and we'll all speculate, because you're right. Eventually it will be Roman versus The Rock, who's the true head of the table, with the final boss on the TKO board. That's a big deal, because people don't realize he could actually end up running the whole show. That's the Rock now. The Rock, the people's champ with the eyebrow Rock. If you were back in the day, that he, not a McMahon, could end up running the whole show when it's all said and done. How crazy is that?
That would be crazy.
Oh my gosh. And still a fan. I would still watch.
Definitely. Definitely. We are in a very good place right now. And I wish wrestling fans would appreciate where we are. The world needs AEW. The world
Yes, I
needs
agree.
TNA.
I agree.
Without them, we got what we got 4 or 5 years ago with stagnation, really boring WWE. You see a lot of things that have come up because they're paying attention to what AEW is doing. I wish Tony Khan would shut his mouth and learn to be a little bit more respectful, because I do believe if they could play nice in the sandbox, you could see the same thing that we're seeing from TNA crossovers. You could see AEW crossovers in WWE, which would only build both companies and really elevate wrestling to another height. But I don't think we'll ever see that. But again,
we didn't think we'd see the crossovers that we've seen either.
That's true.
And Tony Khan's a wrestling fan. He is a true fan. I think if he got the right person or the right persons around him, it could happen. Because the thing is, the Khans have the money. They have the money to go head to head with WWE and TKO. I do hope that fans are kinder to Edge and to Keith Lee and to others who've jumped ship, for various reasons.
They just wanted to continue to wrestle. That's really just what it is. Edge said it himself. He just wanted to continue to wrestle. He wasn't done.
And he wanted to retire with his friend.
Right. And he before he got injured here, because he never really got to do what he wanted to do with the Judgment Day. That did not go. That Judgment Day, that was not finished.
It wasn't.
So he was beginning to create that here before he got injured. But he got a little bit too into the match and jumping from places that he don't have no business jumping from.
Yeah, you tell him that. I'm not going to say that.
I'm going to tell Edge, you had no business being up there. That was nonsense. Don't do that again, please.
It's keeping it real, though. I mean, there are some moves as you're getting on. It's great to see you looking good, but there are some moves, because I'll give props to Damien for that. If you notice, there are some moves he stay away from because he knows if he gets injured at this stage in his life, it's a wrap, at least on the in-ring front.
Don't get a second shot at this being able to go on a run.
That part.
Yep. So I really am looking forward to the weeks to come.
I know.
We are heading into Money in the Bank. That's one of the most exciting pay-per-views that WWE puts on. So I'm looking forward to that. And I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Who do you think?
First time, not the last time.
Oh, no. I thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. It is humbling for me as a fan, and definitely want to give props to Karita Parks and Double Take Sports. Double Take Sports is on across all social media platforms. She's a great lady. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to put my writing out there. So I'm thankful to her, to Double Take, and to you for putting me on. Thank you so much.
Well, as they say, real recognizes real. And Karita was a co-host here when I had the show The Breakdown, and we call her the boss around here. And when she selects folks, I know that they are of the highest regard and they meet her standards that she has set. So of course I will always reach out to those people who she brings on, because I know that they are bringing it and they are legit. So thank you so much for coming on the show. People, please go out and check those articles out that she has on Double Take Sports. That's Double Take, DBLTakeSports.com. They are great articles. They are timeless pieces. They are stories, not just an article. They are stories. Hope, until next time.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Be safe.
You too. Hope cousin, ladies and gentlemen. She did an excellent job, and that's what we want here. You know, we have Champ on, we have Sith on every now and then, and she's another one that we're going to add to the table here as we continue to go and cover wrestling. We got some great stuff coming up here. Don't miss tomorrow. I'm sure we're going to have. I think there is a match between our guy MJF and Roosh, the guy with you get the Hearns. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy that MJF is back. I knew he was going to come back anyway. Like everybody was all worried. I wasn't worried. Lonnie, WrestleMania 25 main event. I don't think you get Rock and Cody at WrestleMania 25. I think that's going to be SummerSlam type deal, maybe a little further. I don't think that's a WrestleMania thing. Could be, but maybe. Roman and Solo, a possibility. Like I said, I just there's something fishy going on, and I don't think you see how our wise man is a little nervous and really doesn't like what's going on. He misses his tribal chief as much as we do. I don't see this. I don't see this being a thing. I think he's going to turn face when he comes back, and we'll have something. It's going to be big, Lonnie. It's going to be big. Thanks, man. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Monica, Richard. You know my camera guy is always in here. John, Fink. We had a lot of new people in here today, and hopefully you guys come back around again. It was great having Nitro Joe on. Like I said, if you're in Norwalk, make sure you stop by and say hello and support what's going on there. And, you know, it is huge. It is huge for a guy like Schumacher to come on and say, hey, we're going to do autograph signing. Ida coming on, doing that. It's huge. Huge for him, huge for what they're trying to do there. And I really appreciate that. Whoever else decides to jump in there and help with that, yeah, thank you. Well, next week we will have Ida Zetterstrom. I'm so excited. I can't wait for her to tell what she was and what she has done in her career, because I see too many people putting and throwing dirt on her name when we got receipts. She was a champion. She's much deserving. And you're going to see that next week when we talk to her. I'm so excited. She debuts real soon. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's like eating me up inside. Again, this has been the NotBland Show. I'm your host, Dujanay Bland. We're sponsored by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Go subscribe, guys. We're out of here.